Hello friends, welcome to our channel. Today we are going to see 10 SQL tricky queries that are frequently asked in the interview for any developer. So before getting into the queries or the questions, I have taken two tables two tables for our study. So the first table is TBL employee and the second table is TBL department. In the TBL employee table, we have employee ID, employee name column, manager ID, which is nothing but the employee ID of the same table, department ID, which is the foreign key of the department table, and salary. And the second table, we have only two columns and only two rows, department ID and two departments here. Okay, so in my SQL Management Studio, I have written the same query and we have the same table structure here with the same data. Okay, so the first question is write a query to find duplicate records in a table. So we need to identify what are the duplicate records that are present in the table. It can be like a single record can be duplicated or multiple records can be duplicated. So our aim is to write a query to find all the duplicate records that are in the table. So for this, like I've given the tip also here, we should use count star and followed by group by and having. And there is a general rule like whenever we use any of the aggregate function like count, max, min, and along with the count, along with the aggregate function, if we are selecting any other columns like employee name and salary, we should definitely write group by class for the same columns that we are selecting. And if we need to write any condition, instead of where, it should be written under having class. So that's why we need a count star and then group by and having. So the query will be select employee name, salary. I'm assuming I'm trying to find the duplicates based on only two columns, employee name and salary. We can even consider manager and department ID. There also the same values are there. Okay, but just to make it easier, like I'm just considering what are the columns we should assume to find the duplicate records. So here employee name and salary. Along with this, we should find the count, how many times that particular record is present in the table. It can be one, it can be two times or multiple times. So this count of star will give the number of times it is present in the table. From the table, from TBL employee, group by, here it's blindly, we can just whatever we have put before the aggregate function, blindly we can write employee name, salary here. Even if we have some other columns, we need to write everything in the group by class. And the trick is the condition should be any record which is present more than one, which is nothing but the count, will give us how many times it is present. So if it is more than one, we assume it is a duplicated. So here I have the query. So before I select fully, I'll just select only a part of the query. So we can identify all the records and their count, number of times it's present. So except Saurav, all the other records are present only one time. Only the Saurav is present more than one time, which is duplicated. So our query, if I run fully with the condition, with having count is greater than 1, it will help us to identify the duplicate record. So here only one record is duplicated. If we have multiple records also, this query will give a result. Okay, so next question is write a query to delete all the duplicate records in a table. It's a continuation from the previous question. So here we found the duplicate records, but people will be asked to write a query to delete all the duplicate records. Whichever record is duplicated, we need to delete that records. Even this in real time, like a development, there are many occasions we'll have duplicate records. We need to do some data cleanup. So for that, this query is we'll have lots of answers in the internet, but I find this is one of the perfect query to write it, though it looks little complicated, but this is the ideal query for this question. So here the tip is we need to use CTE. CTE is nothing but common table expression. which is nothing but a temporary table, and then a row number. This is the important one. Like we need to. This will help us to find the row number for each record, and then partition. So if we see our data, so here if you see, I have a unique column also here, employee ID, but still like I'm using the logic of row number to find the unique row number for each record. So here the query is like we need to it's similar to the previous query. Only thing is, like instead of count star we are using a row number here. So select, so this outer thing we'll see little later. Like so inner one is select employee name and salary comma row number, which will assign row number for each record, and this will help us to partition or segregate or group so that like we will be able to identify the duplicate records, and also it will assign a row number for each and every record. So when I execute here, you will understand it. So the syntax is row number. Here we should write over and put a bracket, partition by. So here we are considering employee name and salary for finding the whether it's a duplicate record or not. So blindly whatever we have written here we will write here, and this partition by, it requires an order by clause also. So there also you can write the same employee name and salary. So for this I'm just giving a name, like this column is I'm giving a name row number. So this employee name, salary, and then row number will find a unique row number for each record actually. So everything from the table employee I'm selecting. So if I just query this piece of query, like so here you can see for each record, like if it occurred only once, it is given a unique number as 1 actually, if it has occurred only once. In case if it has occurred twice, for the first record it gives the row number as 1, for the second record it gives the row number as 2. In case if it has occurred three times, the third record also will present here, only it will number as 3. So based on this row number, it will help us to delete the duplicate records. So we have the query with the unique numbers. So the good part is all the records which are like present only first time, except the duplicated one, like are given the row number as 1, which makes our life easier. So this output we are just storing in a temporary location, which is common table expression with CTE. So once we store this, it will be like a table. So we can write a delete from CTE where row number is greater than, this row number is greater than 1. So this column, whichever row is greater than 1, so those records will be deleted. So here only one record is there, but in a real case, like even if you have 10 duplicate records for this record alone, or even if you have multiple records duplicated, so everything will get deleted. So I'll just instead of delete, I'll just put select star from, like only select gives me the result of like only the second row. So it will keep the first Saurav with the row number as 1, it will not be deleted. Only the Saurav with row number 2 will get deleted. So yeah, I'll just execute this one more time. So only this record will get deleted, all the other records will be remaining. So that is our motive. So if I execute this whole thing again, so it deleted one record. So if I just execute this, so we have the remaining records. So even if I execute this, like my Saurav second record has got deleted, there are no duplicates now. Okay. So the tip is, like, you always remember, like whenever you want to delete all the duplicate records, we should use a CTE and followed by row number, which is the key thing. And row number we should partition based on the columns based on which we assume they are duplicated. So this is the tip. Okay, so moving on to the next question. People will be asking us to find the manager name for the employee where the employee ID and manager ID in the same table. So here if you see this table, as I told you before, these are the employees, but the manager is also they are present, or also they are also going to be the employees of the company. So the manager ID column also present within the same table, but the manager ID is going to reference the employee ID. So here how to read is, for Sachin, the 3 is nothing but the third employee. Saurav is the manager. Same way for Rahul, Saurav is the manager. And for Saurav, number 5, which is nothing but Gavaskar. Gavaskar is the manager for Saurav as well as Kapildev. And for Gavaskar, since it is 0, there are no manager. He is the topmost person. Same way Mohit. For Mohit, Paras is the manager, and Paras, there is no manager. There is nobody above him. So that's it. So whenever we are asked to manipulate the IDs like within the same table, the tip is to use SelfJoin, like which is SelfJoin. I think most of you might be familiar. We need to join the same table twice. Like if you are selecting from table employee, we need to do a join with the table employee again. So how to do that is like using alias. Aliases, we should give some name for it. So first we are going to see select employee ID and employee name, and from the first table, like which is table employee E. So E dot employee ID, E dot employee name will give the employee ID and employee name. But to find the manager for it, we are not going to use E. Instead, we are going to join with the table employee, same table with the alias M. But this time, like we are going to use left join because some employees are not having managers, so they can be left blank. So that's the reason we are using a left join. And since join is there, we have to join based on some condition. E dot manager ID is equal to M dot employee ID. So this is the key thing. So, and when we have the M alias, this table with the M alias, we can use M dot employee name. This will give us the manager name. So here, if I just query here, so this gives employee ID. First we get the employee ID, all the employee IDs and all the employee names, followed by the manager name from the same table. So this we are getting it from the using SelfJoin, like with the alias, like same table we are giving another name, and we are taking the employee name. So this helps us to get the manager name. So this is a very important question most of the interviews people will be asking it. So the tip, don't forget the tip. Whenever you are asked to manipulate within the same table, we should use a SelfJoin with an alias. And okay, the next question is to write a query to find the second highest salary. So this also a frequently asked question. So the rule, the logic here is, first is like we should write a query to find the highest salary. So to find the highest salary, this query will be very simple. Select maximum of salary from table employee. This will give us the maximum salary. So if I just run only this, so it will give me the maximum salaries, which is 10,000. So let us check it. Yeah, so 10,000 is the maximum salary. Okay, so that's the easier one. But the tricky thing is we need to find the second highest salary. So to make it simple, like once we know the highest salary, any salary which is lesser than the any maximum salary which is lesser than the highest salary is going to give us the second highest salary. So we have written an inner query. First step is to write an inner query, select maximum of salary from employee, and an outer query is to get the highest salary excluding the highest salary. We should exclude. So again we are getting the highest salary using select maximum of salary from the same table. Only thing what we are doing is like we are going to exclude the highest salary. So how we are going to exclude is select maximum of salary from table employee where salary less than the query actually. So this is again an inner query. So this will give us the second highest salary. So which is so from here you can see 9,000 is the second highest salary, Gavaskar. Okay, so perfect. Okay, so the next question is like again the continuation. So earlier we found out the second highest salary. Sometimes people will ask to find the employee with the highest second salary, not just the second highest salary. We need to find the employee with the highest salary. So I just made it little easier. So just we can have the same logic here, like writing the inner query and outer query, which will give us the second highest salary. But again, I have written one more outer query. Select like any SQL. It is like whenever we need something, once we have some values, we can put a bracket and write an outer query like this. So here I'm just writing select star from table employee, where salary in. So here we are finding the second highest salary. So if we try to find the employee with that second highest salary, so that gives us the employee name. So select star from table employee where salary in the whole, like the previous answer. So this full query we are going to put inside this. So here it will give us see, like if I just do a select of this, it gives 9,000. But if I do this, it gives me Gavaskar, who is having the second highest salary. So we need to, like, what we need to do is, like, we should remember maximum function, then a sub query, and then outer query to find the employee. So that's it. Okay, moving on to the next question. It's again one step more challenging or complicated to the previous one. So we found the second highest salary, but sometimes people may ask, like the interviewers, they'll know, like, people will mug up the second highest salary query, so they will come up with finding a third highest salary or fourth highest salary. So to find the third or any number, like a fourth or fifth or like sixth, so there is an easy way or logic is there. So this query will help us to find third highest salary or fourth highest salary or fifth highest salary or nth highest salary. So the first step is we need to write an inner query to get the highest three salaries. Like if they are asking us to find third highest salary, we need to find top three salaries in a descending order. In case if it is four, it will be like top four salaries in a descending order. So this select distinct top three salary from table employee, order by salary descending. So this will give us the top three salaries. So I'm just executing those three this inner query, so which will give me the records, the salary in a descending order, 10,000. So this is the top highest salary, second highest, third highest, but we need to just take this value for the third highest. We don't need these two records. How are we going to eliminate this? So we are going to write one outer query. So among this, the logic, see, once we know, like once we get these three results, so the logic would be to find the minimum of these three records, so which will give us 8,000. So the outer query is nothing but minimum salary from this result. So in that way we can get the third highest salary. If people ask you to find fourth highest salary, so just we need to change the 3 to 4. So if you write this, the inner query will give us top four salaries in a descending order. So when we query it, so it will give us the fourth highest salary. So it is as simple as that. So the tip is, we need to write an inner query to find the third or the nth highest salary in a descending order. Then we need to write an outer query to find the minimum of that salary. That's it. Okay, so moving on to the next question. So here we are going to use two tables. Like people may ask you to write a query to find maximum salary from each department. So here we had two tables, and there are two departments, IT and admin. So some of the employees belong to department 1, which is IT department. Some of the employees belong to department 2, which is admin. So we need to find for each department what is the maximum salary. So we should use maximum function, as you can see in the tip, and then since aggregate function is there, we need to have a group by. Because like along with the aggregate function, we are going to select the department here. So here I am writing from table employee, select department ID, comma maximum salary, which is the salary from table employee, group by department ID. So here I have not joined with the second table to get the department name. So here we can find from the first department 10,000 is the maximum salary, and from the second department 8,000. In case if they are asking us to give a department name, then we need to join with the department table. So that I have in the, I think in the 10th question, I'm going to join the department table, so you can get the answer from that. So in case like if they are asking you to find the salary for each department, we have to use a maximum function followed by a group by. Okay, so the next question is it's a simple one, like uh, people may ask you to, if they ask you to find the top 3 rows or the first 3 rows in a table, so immediately most of us would be familiar, we should use select top will give us the like first 3 rows in a table, first few rows, like in case if we need 10 rows, we can say top 10. If we need 3 rows, we can say top 3. So here I have the so this gives us the top, like first few records in the table. But the question will be like since people know like top class, like what is the alternative if we are not going to use top, how can we achieve the same result without using top? So that is the alternate, so we need to find an alternative for top class. So how do we achieve that? So to achieve that, the tip is like we should use row count. So most of us would be using the row count in a procedure. So here we need to set the row count as 3 initially. So once we set it, it will limit the output to those many records. See, here I've just written select start from employee, which will return all the records in the table. But if I'm going to execute this together, it will limit only 3 records, which is giving the same result as that of top class. So we should before the select star from the table, we should set the row count as 3, and later just to reset it back, we need to write row count of 0. Otherwise always it will give you the only 3 records, so we have to revert it back. So that's why we are writing set row count as 0. Okay, so the next question is people may ask you to show single or same row from a table twice in the results. It's like here we have the first row is IT department and the department ID, second row is department 2 and admin. People may ask us to print this first row 2 times, like we need to print IT and department 1 2 times in the result. So how do we achieve that? So okay, so the tip is we need to use union all. So union all will help us to combine 2 queries. Even if the results from both the queries are same, it will not pick only one query. It will help us to print both the records. So if I run this, you will get the answer. The first query is going to give me the record as IT. The second query is also exactly the same. If I run separately, it is going to give me the result as department as one record with IT. But if I use union all, it will help me to print the same record 2 times. So union all will help us to print the single record twice. Okay, so last question is like we to write a query to find departments that have less than 3 employees. So we need to find the departments that has less than 3 employees. So moving on to the data, so here we have 2 departments. So totally 7 employees. One is a duplicate row. So out of 7, for the first department 5 employees are there, second department 2 employees are there. So the query is to print the department which is having less than 3 employees. So we should print the second department employees. We select department ID, e.department ID from employee. To find the department name, I'm joining it with the department table also. So these alias we are joining based on the e.department ID and d.department. So in this way we will be able to join both the tables. Once we join it, we need to find the count of it which is having less than 3 employees. So that we can achieve by group by the department ID and department name, and then condition should be written within the having clause, count of employee ID which is less than 3. So this way it will help us. So here, so this, okay, this is listing everything, whereas if I just group by, okay, here I have to, okay, so this here, this gives me the count here. The IT department has 5 employees, admin has 2 employees, so we need to print only this record where the number of employees in the department having is less than 3. So that's why this condition is written. If I just execute everything, so we have the department ID, so I can exclude this just to print the department ID and department name. So that's the result. So we are pretty much done with it. I hope we covered most of the tricky interview questions. If you have any queries or doubts, please leave us in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe our channel. Thank you very much. Thank you.